Put your phone down, now, not after this video, right now. I know that's the one instruction you cannot follow, because you are watching this video on the phone I just asked you to put down. So here is the compromise. Put it down at the end of this video. The whole video is about 12 minutes. The work the video is asking you to do starts the moment the video ends, and you do not pick the phone back up to scroll to the next thing. This is the closing video of a 14-video series I have been releasing on this channel over the last few months. Each of the previous 13 videos was about a piece of the same underlying problem. This video names the problem directly, says what the work actually is, and then asks you to stop watching. It is the only video on this channel that ends with that request. If you have watched the other 13, parts of this will sound familiar. If you haven't, if this is the first one you found, most of what I am about to say will land harder if you go back and watch them afterwards. The list of the others is in the description. They are linked in the order I would watch them. Quick summary for both the people who have watched the rest of the series and the people who have just arrived. The first set of videos address specific relationship patterns, why you couldn't stop thinking about her, the mechanism underneath BPD relationships, the phrase, "I don't feel safe," being used to end conversations, the love hormone that didn't do what the bumper sticker said it did, the nice guy script, the vulnerability that pickup artist culture told you was weakness, the slow fade that hurt more than a clean breakup, the perimenopause transition nobody warned you about from both sides. The second set widened. You were not built for this. The biology of modern loneliness. Boredom is not the enemy. The wall you have up is partly childhood and partly civilizational. The 4 kinds of power, the one that destroys you and the 3 you take back. The outsider and what to do with the seeing. 13 videos, different topics on the surface, underneath the same argument, repeated from 13 angles because the argument is large enough that no single angle could carry it alone. This video is the argument named directly. The argument is this: we have built, in the last 50 years, an environment that is hostile to almost everything the human nervous system was designed to be. We have replaced community with audience. We have replaced friends with followers. We have replaced conversation with content. We have replaced direct experience with curated experience, shared meals with parallel scrolling, walking somewhere with watching others walk. We have replaced the felt presence of other people with parasocial relationships with people we will never meet. And we have done all of this without noticing what we replaced it with or what we lost in the trade. The cost of the trade is now coming due. The relationship patterns the first half of this series covered, the toxic attachments, the unbearable closeness, the dopamine traps, the impossible love, are not random pathologies happening to unlucky individuals. They are the predictable downstream effects of an environment that has, at the level of the species, eroded the conditions in which secure attachment was ever possible in the first place. Your generation didn't fail at relationships. Your generation is the first to attempt long-term partnership inside an architecture of attention specifically designed to keep you dysregulated. Underneath every video in this series, every single one, is one terrifying gap that almost nothing in modern life lets you sit with long enough to feel. The gap is this: you do not know who you are when the noise stops. The version of you that exists separately from the algorithm, the news cycle, the work performance, the parental performance, the partner performance, the political identity, the social media identity. That version of you has not had a chance to surface for so long that you're not sure he's still in there. He is, but he needs the noise to stop in order to come up. and the architecture you live in is engineered to never let the noise stop. Here is the part of this that the wellness industry has obscured, deliberately and profitably. The wellness industry knows you need silence. It also knows the moment you actually get silence, you stop needing most of what the industry is selling you. So the industry has done something clever. It has converted silence into a luxury product. Meditation apps, weekend retreats, 10-day silent meditation programs that cost $3,000, forest bathing, cold plunges, sound baths. The aesthetic of stillness, sold back to you in branded form at a markup with an Instagram-ready outcome attached. Silence is not a luxury product. Silence is the operating condition the human nervous system was designed to spend a substantial portion of its time inside. It is not optional. It is not something you go on a retreat to access. It is supposed to be the background state of being a human being. The reason you have to pay $3,000 to find it in 2026 is that almost every other source of it in your daily life has been systematically removed. The good news in that information is that you don't need the wellness industry to get silence back. You need to put the phone down for an hour, walk outside without earbuds, sit on the back step with a cup of tea and no agenda, sleep with the device in another room, eat one meal a day that's just food. None of this costs anything. None of this requires a guru. None of this is content. And almost nobody is actually doing it, because the alternative, the noise, is constantly handed to you, freely in your pocket, and the body that has been calibrated to the noise will reach for it the moment you put it down. The reaching is the work. Watching yourself reach for the phone in the gap and putting the phone back down. Hundreds of times. Thousands of times. Slowly the muscle for sitting in the gap rebuilds. Slowly, the body remembers that the gap is not danger. Slowly, the version of you who has been buried under the noise comes back up to where you can hear him. When the noise stops and you sit with the silence long enough, and this is not weeks, it is months, sometimes years of intermittent practice, specific things start coming back. Your nervous system regulates, not all the way, not perfectly, but enough that the chronic low-grade activation you've been living with for years starts to drop, and you notice the difference physically. Your sleep deepens, your appetite stabilizes. The skin crawl on the Sunday afternoon that I described in the boredom video starts arriving less often and with less intensity. Your perception sharpens, not in a mystical way, in a practical one. You start noticing what the people across the room are actually doing, separate from what they're performing. You start noticing what you actually feel, separate from what the platforms have been training you to feel. You start noticing what you actually want, separate from what the algorithm has been telling you to want. The signal-to-noise ratio in your own perception lifts. You become harder to manipulate, more accurate about your own life, slower to react, and more able to respond. Your relationships clarify. Some of them get deeper because the people you can actually be present with become identifiable to you, and you spend more time with them. Some of them fall away because the relationships that were running on parallel scrolling and shared distractions stop having anywhere to live once you've put the distraction down. Both directions are correct. The clarifying is the work. Your work changes. Whatever it is you do, whether that's a job, or a craft, or a piece of writing, or a project, or the raising of children, or the running of a household, or the keeping of a piece of land, the work becomes more deliberate, less performative, more rooted in what the work actually requires rather than in what would look good if performed. The work that is genuinely yours gets visibly better. The work that wasn't yours gets quieter, and you start letting it go. And the gap itself, the terrifying gap that the noise has been covering. Turns out, when you sit with it long enough, to be less terrifying than it was advertised. It is not empty. It is not the absence of you. It is the version of you the noise was burying. He is, almost without exception, less impressive than you'd feared, and more all right than you'd hoped. He doesn't need a program. He doesn't need a guru. He doesn't need a productized version of himself. He just needs you to stop covering him. I want to tell you briefly what my own version of this looks like, not as a model and not as autobiography, but as testimony. I live in a shed on the outskirts of Townsville. The shed is not romantic. It is a working shed in a place called Majors Creek. I work as a stevedore at the port. I came to this life the long way round, through a rainforest I lived in as a young man, through marriages, through children, through farms that worked and farms that didn't, through years in another state, through a lot of bad chapters and a few good ones. I am almost 60. None of the above is in any way exceptional. Many men have arrived at versions of it. Most evenings after my shift, I sit on the step of that shed with a cup of tea and watch the country go quiet. The phone is inside. The TV is inside. There is no one to perform for, and nothing flashing for my attention. Some evenings, a Brahmini kite circles above the property, and I watch her without needing to make a video about her. Although I have written a novel and several songs in which a particular kite plays a starring role. Most evenings, nothing in particular happens. The light goes from gold to gray to dark. The country settles. I settle. That is the version of me the algorithm cannot deliver. The version that is not afraid of the silence, because the silence is no longer where I disappear. It is the place I most reliably show up. The version that is also able the next morning to drive into the port, do a physical day's work alongside other men, come home, write a script like this one in a small office in the shed, and sit again on the step at dusk. Both halves of the life. Both halves possible because the shed at dusk is one of them. I am not telling you to move into a shed. I am not telling you to leave your city or your job. I am telling you the man on the step of that shed is somebody almost anybody can be, in some scaled down version, with some piece of country or floor or backstep or quiet room, with a phone left in another room and an hour with no agenda. The structure is the same regardless of the postcode. The structure is put the noise down, sit with what is, wait. Practical before we close. One instruction, not 5. 1. After this video ends, put the phone face down on a surface you can't see from where you are. Walk to a different room or step outside. Stay there for 30 minutes. No music, no podcast, no book, no conversation. Just you, somewhere, with whatever the inside of your own head is doing. It will be uncomfortable. Probably the first 10 minutes will be the worst. You will reach for the phone half a dozen times. You may pick it up, put it back down. Do not turn this into a willpower test. The point is not the 30 minutes. The point is the noticing of what your body does when the noise is removed. That noticing, repeated across weeks, is what slowly rebuilds the muscle every previous video in this series has been pointing at. Do it tonight. Do it tomorrow. 3 times this week, 5 times next. Do not announce it. Do not buy an app to track it. Do not turn it into a routine you perform. Just put the phone down, walk away from it, come back to it later. The body remembers. The system regulates. The man buried under the noise starts coming on. Walk away from it. Do the work the explaining was always pointing at. The explaining is over. I'll see you in some form, in whatever comes next. Songs, stories, the long road between who I was and who I'm becoming.